Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be taking part in the Friday Night Magic at Home Singleton event, so a little bit more of a brawly kind of gameplay video today. However, it's commanderless, also has Agent of Treachery banned, which I'm in love with this little combination right here. Wish they'd do it in every single format, but alas, they do not. But Singleton, they deemed this card to be too not fun for this format, and I don't blame them. Today we're going to be playing with red-green monsters. So this is essentially a mid-range list in the Gruul colors, built very much around big value creatures. So I'm going to be trying to play any creature that does a lot of stuff when it enters the battlefield or when it attacks, or just does something really big and powerful, so that every single card that we play is hopefully going to be a bomb that changes the game. So to go into the list, we'd have to go through every single card, and I'm not going to do that. What I will do is talk about some of the M21 cards that maybe inspired the list to make me want to play around with this. So one of them was kind of like Garruk's Uprising, 3-mana enchantment. Whenever it enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you get to draw a card. So it's a 3-mana enchantment that does something when it enters, which is great. That's the baseline for Magic the Gathering these days, is a card has to do something when it enters. It also gives creatures we control trample, which is great because we're going to be making big creatures, and whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. So it's very similar to the old auto-include for green, which still is an auto-include, and that's Guardian Project. Basically, whenever a creature enters the battlefield, if it is unique, which in Singleton, every single creature should be unique, that's non-token wise anyway, then you get to draw a card. So we're going to be trying to leverage that kind of thing, having lots of card advantage. This just means if we have some sort of creature that isn't really all that high-powered, things like Paradise Druid and Incubation Druid that ramp us into our big stuff, then we can at least get some value off of them anyway. We also have the Great Henge to do that kind of thing as well. This one gets cost reduction based off the biggest creatures we have. We're going to be trying to play around with essentially 4 power matters, or 4 power or more matters, but there are a few cards in here that are not quite up to that standard. One of those being Radha, Heart of Keld, 3-mana 3/3. As long as it's your turn, it has First Strike. And you may look at the top card of your library and play lands from the top of your library. So it's basically a card advantage engine. And you can also get Radha to pay 6 and get +X/+X until the end of the turn, where X is the number of lands you control. So you can make this really big, and with Garruk's Uprising having trample, that can be a really powerful threat. In addition to looking at top card and being able to play lands, we also have Vivian Monsters Advocate from Ikoria, a 5-mana 3 loyalty, that also has the same kind of thing in the passive. However, instead of lands, we get to cast creature spells from the top of our library. So now with Radha and with Vivian, we can cast creatures and lands. So the only thing that's really left over is instant sorceries, planeswalkers, and enchantments. We don't really have any artifacts in here, so that's one thing that we don't really have to worry about. So we should be able to play off the top of our deck pretty nicely if we can get these two into play. We also have things like Primal Might as our removal spells of choice. As I mentioned, we are a creature-focused deck, so a lot of our removal is creature-based. So we've got Primal Might, which we can pump as much damage as we want into it, giving +X/+X, where X is whatever we've paid, and then it fights a creature we don't control. If we have trample, then all of that +X/+X adds on a little bit more as well, and it can be a really good finisher. We've got Domri's Ambush and Thrash Threat, which allow us to attack planeswalkers. In addition to that, obviously, we got the big boys, the 17-line Beast, Questing Beast. 4-mana 4/4, does too many things for it to be a Magic card that people should like. We've got Garruk Unleashed in here as well, from M21, 4 mana for a 4 loyalty. Get to give +3/+3 and trample until the end of the turn, so most of the stuff's going to be like a 7-powered trampler, which is great. We get to -3 and make some beast tokens if we don't have any creatures, and if our opponent controls more creatures than us after that is created, then it's actually a -1, which is great. If we can get up to the -7, we get an emblem with, at the beginning of your end step, you may search your library for a creature card, put it onto the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. We're not really going to be able to put anything into play that is game-winning on the spot, but everything's high value, so we can really just play some really nice top-end big boy threats. Things like Terror of the Peaks, 5-mana 5/4 flyer. Spells that your opponents cast that target Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 life to cast, so we're going to get almost essentially a guaranteed 3 life out of our opponent with Terror of the Peaks. It also has an ETB effect as well. For any other creature entering the battlefield, we deal damage equal to that creature's power to any target. So we can hit our opponent's face, we can hit our opponent's planeswalkers, their creatures, literally anything. Terror of the Peaks is an absolute mythic bomb if we can get it into play and let it stick. That's going to be the really big thing, is can we get these cards to stick? If they get immediately removed, they're not as good. I'm really waiting until next standard where 3 fairy doesn't just immediately bounce them, and that makes these cards a little bit more playable. But hopefully in Singleton we won't see 3 fairy today. Gargoth is a 5-mana 6/6 with Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. Only gets the benefit from attacking or blocking, so we're going to need to leave it in play for a turn. But if we get to attack with it, then we get a 3/3 Beast Creature token, or 3 life, or draw a card. Any one of those things would be really nice. And also it's a really good defender, since against things like Mono Red, if we can get this down, we can block our opponent's creature and do pretty well. Shouldn't have to expect Ember Cleaves all that much. I mean, it'll be a one-of in people's decks, so, you know, naturally it'll still be in their hand, but it shouldn't be. And we can gain 3 life when we block as well, so we get some really nice trades on there. But yeah, that's really, I think, all we really want to go into with this particular list. If you do enjoy the Singleton format and you want to see more of it in the future, let me know down in the comments section below. Also, let me know what you are playing today. Very curious. I always forget about this button. Need to get used to doing that. Oh yeah, the mana base, pretty simple. We got our castles in there. Got all the dual lands that really matter. A couple of tap lands, because we're mostly playing on 3 and 4 as far as our mana costs are concerned, so we can afford to have tap lands in here. Got Bonder's Enclave to draw cards for 4 powered creatures. Cryptic Caves for card draw. Evolving Wilds, Fable Passage. Can change the top card of our deck with Vivian and Radha to potentially set up another card that we can cast off of that, which is pretty nice. But yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the gameplay. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alright, we're in, and we're up against a very interesting individual. We're gonna keep this. I actually don't know if it's good or not. Maybe it's not. But we don't get free mulligans, apparently, in Singleton, so I'm going to take this perfectly average 7-card hand, and we're going to try and leverage Lovestruck Beast into the Great Henge. Looks like our opponent's playing maybe Mono Red, which is fine by us, so we're going to make our Heart's Desire 1/1, probably use it as a blocker. I don't really care about it being around for Lovestruck Beast at this point in time. And I think we'll just thin the deck, to be honest, because we will hopefully be able to ramp into Great Henge just fine, so if we thin the deck, we don't need more than our 4th land for quite some time. Omen of the Forge to deal 2 damage. Gonna go after my little token. I am totally fine with that. Honestly, that's ideal for me. Let's go with the Forest. So we got that double green. And let's see what our opponent can do. I mean, we can still block with the Lovestruck Beast, so we've got that going for us. Our opponent with Spinning Wheel. Interesting. So maybe it's Big Red? Honestly, this turn state that they've made here is very, very slow. So I don't expect much more than Big Red. I don't think they want to be ramping into Mana Rocks. So they want to be killing Lovestruck Beast if they can do it. There are a few cards... specifically from M21, I think it's called Soul Seer or something like that, that deals 5 damage to Lovestruck Beast. They'll want to do something like that. Just going for the Solemn Simulacrum, so yeah, I think this is Big Red for sure. So I'm going to go with the Great Henge and get it down right now. That way we can pump all of our creatures from this point forward. So do we block Solemn Simulacrum? Godzilla Doom Inevitable. We certainly don't block that. I will take 8. So here we actually have Elder Gargaroth becoming a 7/7 and actually being able to kill Godzilla with Domri's Ambush, which is insane. We'll gain the life off of the Great Henge before we pass the turn over. And yeah, let's go Elder Gargaroth. So every single creature entering the battlefield will draw us a card. And then we're going to Domri's Ambush and kill Godzilla. I don't see our opponent can beat an 8/8 Gargaroth at this point. We should be pretty much bigger than anything our opponent can put out here. So when you want to explode opponent, that is fine by me. I suppose they do have Ugin the Spirit Dragon. That can definitely do some serious damage, as well as 6 mana Ugin as well. The one who cannot be F'd. Cavalier. Probably going to discard both cards if I had to guess. Going to dig for that Ugin. I'm pretty sure that Chandra Awakened Inferno, 6 mana Chandra, can't -8 immediately, so we've got that going for us. Alright, so we've got Marauding Raptor, which pings creatures but gives them cost reduction. It's a little bit late for that to be useful. It's definitely potentially useful though, but we're going to go with Vivian Monster's Advocate first and foremost, so we can see what's on top of our library. Can't cast that, unfortunately. So let's draw it with the Gargaroth. I suppose they could actually just double block here. That would be annoying. For sure. Do we just go for it anyway, though? I feel like we almost just go for it. I will draw a card. Let's get the double block out of him. I'll offer that trade. Yeah, it doesn't feel amazing, but it is what it is. So they draw a card and they deal 0 damage to us with the Cavalier's trigger. We're going to go with Vivian Tick Up with Vigilance, since we're not trying to push through anything just yet. Marauding Raptor gives a little bit of cost reduction and card draw, and there's a Rada coming next turn as well, so we should be able to play off the top of our library very easily. I think, as short of our opponent getting that Ugin, we're in a pretty good spot. I'm just going to go straight Bone Crusher and try to Vivian. Okay. Vivian is down, so we can no longer play creatures off the top of our library, but we are drawing whenever we play a creature anyway. So, Rada coming down. Gets to reveal the top card. Gonna draw that, unfortunately, but we do get to play the Enclave off the top. And we've got a Garruk's Uprising coming soon. I guess we could play that. If we went with this... we don't have the red to do Scorching Dragonfire this turn, which is something I really want to do. Want to kill this Bone Crusher Giant so we can push through. We really just do not want to have to deal with the nonsense that is our opponent's deck. And from there... I think we'll go with Domri Chaosbringer. Because we can actually minus to get the creatures off the top when we know that they're there. So, float some mana, get in for 6. Take her up onto 13, and we should have them dead next turn, I think. They do have 8 mana, so if they can F my Ugin, that would be very unfortunate. Just going to discard their hand and redraw. They've got 3 mana left, and they're going to go for that Scry. We really do not want to see a top here. A top would suggest that they can answer the board state as it currently stands, which I'm hoping they can't. Alright, so we know there's a Beanstalk Giant on top. So I think I'm going to reveal the Beanstalk Giant. And we got the Paradise Druid and the Beanstalk Giant. There's a mountain on top, so we'll play that because we can. We've got Primal Might. That should do it. So let's go Paradise Druid. Draw the Primal Might and then use the rest of our mana to pump our creatures. Actually, we could go with a Rada for 6 as well. So we just do an extra 1. Yeah, I could do it on the Marauding Raptor. So we'd use the 6 on Rada to give plus 1,000,000. Plus 1 on this, and then swing. So, GG. Alright, we're in. And this hand's awkward, because we've got 2 turn 3 plays. And I don't know which one's better, because one gets us towards Gargaroth and the other is very aggressive. So I guess it all depends on what we want to be. I'm going to go grab a forest with this one, because the Garenbreg is a tap land if I don't. So let's do that. And see what our opponent's playing. Again, what our opponent's playing might depend on our play style. Do we want to be very aggressive with our opponent? Time will tell. Let's just play the mountain and pass the turn. So far, we're on Simic. So I'm thinking we'll go in with the Spellbreaker. I think we want to just throw that one straight in and say go, go, go. 3 damage. Let's start that engine. So we're expecting Nissas, Krasis, things like that. Eventually, Spellbreaker will probably be outplayed by what our opponent's doing, although Cloud Kinseer makes me question that. I think we're going to go with the Beanstalk Giant to get our 5th land, and then we can do the Lovestruck Beast's Heart's Desire. I don't think we got any triple greens or triple reds in our deck, so it really doesn't matter too much which one we pick. We're going to go with the green, because I'm pretty sure it's the primary colour in this deck. There we go. Let's get you in, and then we can start producing either loads of 3/3s with Vivian, or we can go with the Elgar Gargaroth and get that set up so we can start swinging. I'm thinking the Gargaroth actually might be the one we want here, since we're probably going to be able to swing through with it next turn. But does anything else really line up mana-wise? Well, let's get in with the Spellbreaker. That's a guarantee. Want to be doing that. We might want to be going with a kill on Incubation Druid, to be honest, and that would leave us probably just playing Lovestruck Beast, which I think is okay. Kill Incubation Druid while we still can. Yeah, we'll just get a 5/5 going to pressure our opponent. They're at 11, so they're at that point now where they can't really establish anything that doesn't just have to block. So I want to put something in play that forces our opponent to chomp it, essentially. And yeah, that'll do it. Good old 3-minute game of Magic, and that is our 2 wins for this event. I got 20 gems for my last one, so I'm expecting to get 20 gems for my second one, because usually these F&M events, they're always 20 gems. Gem reward! Yay! Alright, well, let's keep going, shall we? This is a really good deck, apparently. Alrighty then, we are in, and we have a Terror of the Peaks and mana to get to it. So yeah, we're going to go with this one. It's a turn 3 Terror by the looks of it. So we got turn 1 Gilded Goose, turn 2 Paradise Druid. That gives us the 5 mana on turn 3. Seems good. I mean, it all depends on whether Gilded Goose gets killed, because Paradise Druid's going to do just fine. And it might be a little bit miserable if Terra just immediately dies, but we've got to kind of go for that. We have a Gargaroth as well to push through after that. So our opponent's playing some weird color combination. 5 colors, probably. Missing blue, but everything else is there. So this could be removal. It's going to cost our opponent 3 life to deal with the Terra. I think we'll take those chances, because I want the Gargaroth really to not get murdered, and it's also a better follow-up to Terra if Terra survives. So yeah, if they've got a Murderous Rider, it's going to cost them 5 life to kill this Terra, which is basically what it's done already. Going to go for a Mortify and take 3. Okay. So now we can go with the Elgar Gargaroth and just see if we can keep going. There we go. We did forget to actually send a message with Gilded Goose when we had the chance, so we'll do it now. There we go. That's probably why our Terra died, if we're being honest. And yeah, we just kind of hope that we can draw cards with the Gargaroth, maybe go wide. I'm not entirely sure. All depends on whether it survives here, because honestly, I'm surprised it's even alive right now. Yeah. There's a D-spot. Removal tribal for our opponent then. Okay, land. And I mean, if they've got like Liliana next turn, there's not a great deal we could do about that. I'm sure our opponent will win. But we got to take the chance, haven't we? Okay, and then we'll go with Marauding Raptor. And we've got the mana left open for the Gilded Goose. Alright. You just want those really big threats that we can do something with. Just another Triome. Still no blue. I'm assuming there's no blue in this deck at all. It's just 4-color removal. And a Vivian Monsters Advocate is very good. Alright, so let's start by getting in with the Marauding Raptor. See what our opponent wants to say about that. Actually, we'll get in with the Paradise Druid as well. See if we can deal 4 damage to our opponent. Maybe get them to tap out. Alright, well. See if they got Planeswalker removal. We've seen D-Spark from them so far. And we will tick up and make a Vigilant creature here. Since our opponent's not really presented any creatures to push through and to block, we want to go for the one that can both attack and block. And we'll leave the Evolving Wilds for now, because then we can set up the top card of our library if Vivian lives. Which she doesn't. We get an Ass Trophy. Alright. Thin the deck then. We could have waited and got the Guardian Project that was on top, but to be honest, don't know if I want to be drawing that next turn. And this way we can actually crack the Evolving Wilds. They've got a Gargaroth. Alright, so they actually have threats in their deck. I was surprised to see that. Maybe we can answer that. We've got plenty of things to do it. Garruk's Uprising is not one of them. Okay, so let's adapt. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're just playing the Uprising and passing the turn. Land for our opponent, and I'm probably swinging for card draw so they can find more removal. I feel like we've done okay. We've just kind of run out of steam a little bit, but hopefully Garruk's Uprising can help us regain that a little bit. We need to find a 4-powered creature, essentially, so that we can Bonder's Enclave and Uprising. If we can start drawing those cards, we can get back into this game. And Liliana called it 9 years ago. Yep. And this time they'll start making zombies, because we got lots of expendable things, and our opponent's Gargaroth, not quite expendable. I think I'll just keep making food tokens. Rule Guildgate. Solid top deck. So we'll pass the turn. If we can't get rid of Liliana before it gets to 9, we'll lose on the spot. Field of Ruin gets rid of the Enclave, which we're not really using, so thinning the deck for us actually helps us at this point. Yeah, I'll just float that mana like a savage. Probably going to crack an excess amount of food tokens here, to be honest. Let's get another red. And Nissa, who ruins the game. Make a zombie, make a land. So yeah, our opponent was all removal, and now they're all bombs. So hopefully we can go all bombs to counter this, now that they've run out of all removal. Still passing the turn, eh? Alright, so we'll crack until we've got, I guess, 2 food tokens left. Just in case we want to play something off the Gilded Goose now. Oh, we'll just draw lands. That'll also work. Yeah, I mean, you can't help a draw like that. There's really nothing to it. I don't even know what we could draw at this point that really makes a difference. Ravager Worm, I guess, does a thing. But not really. Alright, get rid of Gilded Goose and Paradise Druid. Opponent draws 2. Yeah, we're just getting locked out of this game big time. We drew an Uprising that didn't do anything. And then we drew several lands. Proliferate, make some 4/4s, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, you've got more removal? Do they want to get in with the Gargaroth? They do not. They want to trade one of these off. We're going to triple block, because they've probably got removal. So I want to make sure that at least if they do have removal, one of these swamps is dead. I think that's what they were trying to do. Get me to double block that looked like an easy block, and then remove something to blow me out. It's not going to work, opponent. I may be bad at this game, but I ain't that bad most of the time. Alright, let's get rid of these food tokens. They don't actually serve any purpose. And we don't have to worry about Liliana's ult anymore. They saw to that. With a very weird down tick. And we draw more lands. I think I'm just going to move on so we can play Magic the Gathering. Yeah, that's not a card. So if I knew what the top card was, I'd keep playing this out, but I'm just not. I'm not interested in drawing more lands, so let's go to the next game. Alrighty then, let's have a look-see. This hand looks great, to be honest. We're going to keep this one. We got a turn 2 Marauding Raptor. After that, we can go with Bone Crusher, kill whatever we want, and a cheap turn 4 Gargaroth. So that even gives us time to go with the Garruk's Uprising as well. Giving us Bone Crusher Giant to draw a card, and Gargaroth to draw a card when it enters. So this should be solid. We'll have to see. Really hope that we get to play with it. Our opponents so far, not quite at home. Oh, they're at home enough to change the colour of their cat. It's not that kind of cat. He doesn't even care to hiss at me. Alright, Mountain, the colour of intimidation and hatred, go. Opponent. Berserk. Living up to their name. Just look how aggressive they are right now. My god. Hardly contain their anger. So we're going to go with Marauding Raptor, I think. Or do we want to kill this Weasel Redcap? I think we want to just go with the Marauding Raptor. We can kill it later. I'm sure our opponent will kill our Raptor, though, which is kind of why I wanted to hold off on it, because it's important to my game plan. But drawing another land is just fine as well. We still do need another green source for the Elder Gargaroth anyway. And we're going to take this damage. Really would love for our opponent to tap out. I think they were seriously considering it there. Just going in for 3 damage and leaving it at that. Light up the stage. Gets 2 cards they can't really cast right now. So we want to dodge Skewer the Critics. I think that's really the only card here that gives us any trouble. And we even got our land. Alright, so awkward mana time. What are we doing? Are we killing... Which one are we killing? I'm assuming we are killing. Because we want to swing and make the Marauding Raptor not really a threat we have to care about. I guess it's because this is a mana sink. We're just going to let it stick around. If our opponent taps out for it, that's going to be probably more beneficial for us. And Elder Gargaroth resolving next turn is going to be great. We don't need the Garruk's Uprising. We can get the draw trigger off of the Gargaroth when it enters instead. It's all dependent on whether our opponent deems this tapped Raptor worthy of killing, and they do not, which is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Get pinged. Getting with the Raptor. Now, this is the awkward bit. Biogenicus does not gel very well with the Raptor. So at this point, we want them to kill it. But they deem a 3 life every single turn, 6/6 with Vigilance, Reach, and Trample too much to bear. I would agree with that. We can remove enough to guarantee that the Gargaroth can attack. He's great on blocks as well, which is why we're running him. We're literally running him as a mono-red killer, so, you know, here we are, killing mono-red with him. Sweet. Alrighty then, we're in, and this hand is keepable. We've got turn 1 Gruul Guildgate when we've got nothing to do. Would really prefer one of these mountains to be a forest, because we've got more double green to worry about than we do double red, and we've also got the Gruul Guildgate to make the most of that anyway. Thrash Threat could be okay, but with our opponent on Golgari Guildgate, really not sure what we're going to expect here. Field of the Dead is banned, so our opponent, I think, can still play Golos. But that's really about it. There's a Lovestruck Beast. Okay, so this is whenever another creature enters, so it's not really going to do as many favors if we play the Heart's Desire here. It's just going to die. So it's a tough call on what we want to do here. There's very few things that the Marauding Raptor does to hurt us, but that is definitely one of them. Yeah, I think we just have to hold up and Bone Crusher Giant, to be honest. Although I could go with a 4-3, while our opponent can't finish it off after the 1 point of damage it'll be needing to do. Yeah, let's just play Bone Crusher Giant as it is. So now we've got a decent Thrash Threat target, as well as Rabid Bite as well. So our opponent's going to need to answer this quite nicely with their gates. Singleton as well, so only one of each kind of gate. I'm assuming this is more of a budget thing than actual gates. Since you can only run a single one, it's kind of hard to build a good, decent gates deck. Ooh, Great Henge. Well, I can play the Lovestruck Beast just to make that easier to cast. And I think I will. Next turn, if we grab a forest off the top, which we are due a land at this point, I think this is a pretty decent chance. It's 42%. It's right there, actually. Chance to draw, 42%. Then, yeah, we'll be able to Great Henge. It's not really 42%, technically. It's even lower than that in reality, because we've got lots of non-green lands we could draw. Gonna go with Kasmina. Okay. So Kasmina's got this passive that says spells your opponent's cast that target a creature or planeswalker cost 2 more to cast. So we will have to improvise. Great Henge. Then we will go Rabid Bite. You fight you. Oh, is it creatures as well? Ah, dang it. It is creatures as well. Alright, fine. We'll do that later. We'll send this all at Kasmina anyway. Stop her from actually being able to do anything. So I'm guessing it's Super Friends? I don't see Kasmina any other time. So we're going to take her to 1. So she's basically just an enchantment at this point. And we'll pass the turn. Yeah, not really seeing anything that would tell us that it's anything but like Sultai Super Friends. Lots and lots of Planeswalkers is something you can do quite easily in Singleton. You just fill out that board full of Planeswalkers. Wildborn Preserver, okay. That can be killed. As can the Gilded Goose. See if our opponent wants to pump it up. If they do, they are tapped out. And we can exploit that. Yep, gonna pay the 2. And a Castle Vantress to tap out. So we want to pay the 2 on the Great Henge. Yep. Ooh, Ravager Worm. That's very good. That is excessively good. I think we're going to go with that. I'm a little bit worried about a board wipe, but I'm not sure it's necessarily too much of an issue. Oh, you are going to take some damage I don't want you to take, aren't you? You're going to go to 6, take 2, down to 4. You're going to trade with the Wildborn Preserver, and I'm not happy about that. Should have thought this one a little bit more through. Actually, no, you get an extra token. Aha! So you're actually a 7 toughness, which is down to 5 on the Marauding Raptor. So we can kill the Wildborn Preserver here and keep our Ravager Worm. Alright. Crisis averted. I think I'll honestly maybe take the land. We're going to have like a really huge Voracious Hydra at this rate. And let's kill Kasmina so that we don't have to pay excess mana to kill our opponent's threats next time around. And they've deemed that enough. Good stuff. Alright. Yeah, almost mega punted, but yeah, a trigger I'd forgotten saved the day. Let's go for one more. Alrighty then, we're in, and we've got turn 2 Incubation Druid, turn 3 Domri, turn 4 Terror of the Peaks. Seems good enough. Our opponent's playing a Yorion Singleton deck, so 80 cards. We'll see what they can do with that. Usually it's nothing good, but I haven't seen Singleton Yorion before, so we'll have to see. Lots of colours for our opponent. I think we're just going to lead off with the Incubation Druid. If they want to take the turn to kill this, then that's totally fine. We can still go with the Domri next turn anyway. If it lives, though, we can do Domri into Tick Up into Paradise Druid. Be pretty happy with that. So, Tick Up on green and play Paradise Druid. We got Terror of the Peaks next turn. It'd be nice if we could play something after it, but I don't think that's going to happen. It's probably decent enough to go Terror into Primal Might, honestly. So let's do a Tick Up on red. Terror of the Peaks. And we definitely want to murder. So I think I'll just go with a Primal Might? No, let's do Lava Coil. I was thinking that I could swing through, though, with... Yeah, that's probably better. If we go green, we do the Primal Might. X0. We can have this fight this. And then we can swing with our Paradise Druid for 3. And they won't block that. It's a little bit of extra damage. Time will tell if that ends up being worth it, because obviously the Primal Might does have that pump effect, and apparently it's worth it. We've established enough of a board. Could have been quite afraid of a board wipe there if they had something like Storm's Wrath, but the amount of mana dorks they have in their deck made me pretty comfortable about committing into a board that very likely does not have Wraths. But yeah, pretty good. Alright guys, well that is going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe as well for more Singleton content in the future. Most likely Brawl, let's be honest. We love our Brawl on this channel, so if you enjoy your Brawl, make sure to hit that subscription button and hit the bell icon right next to it as well to get notifications when I release new videos. But other than that, thank you very much for watching guys, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.